There's a vote on the floor now. The members will proceed, but I will continue to accommodate our last witness. Mr. Giorgi, you may proceed.
Mr. Chairman, thank you for the opportunity to testify before this august body. After 30 years of fighting and war, the guns in Eritrea are silent, and peace reigns everywhere. That includes also Ethiopia. Eritreans everywhere are rejoicing now, repeating the slogans of the civil rights movement. Free at last. Thanks God Almighty, we're free at last. And they're also repeating the slogans of the Jews who are remnants of the Holocaust by repeating their slogan again, never again, reflecting their dual heritage. The provisional government of Eritrea has embarked on the restoration of public service right away. Food distribution is given the highest priority and is going on smoothly. The seaports of Massawa and Assab, the international port in Asmara, as well as all major roads are open, and movement of people and commerce is moving unimpeded both within Eritrea and between Eritrea and Ethiopia. In Eritrea, the price of staple foods has gone down by as much as 60% within the first week of liberation. Within Eritrea, electricity and water supply systems have been restored to normal operation after a disruption of more than 2 years. Hospitals and clinics have resumed their function. Law and order prevails everywhere. Perhaps the greatest benefit from the recent developments is the alleviation of different forms of human suffering. The Coptic Orthodox Church in Asmara has taken responsibility, full responsibility, to take care of all war orphans in the country. Families that have been separated for up to 30 years are going to be reunited. There are close to 1 million refugees in exile all over the world. It's appropriate to mention at this juncture that there is quite a sizable number of Eritreans residing in the United States, and many of them have picked up American nationality, and they're very much interested in what goes on in Eritrea. The home country is as close to them as the United States is. They all have adjusted to life in the United States. They all are participating fully in the economic mainstream, both in business and the professions. And Eritreans, both at home and here, are profoundly grateful to the government and people of the United States for the help given them in their time of need. Eritrean work ethic and resourcefulness will undoubtedly create an economic miracle similar to that of Southeast Asian countries. The already existing industrial base, almost at par with that of Ethiopia in terms of capacity of production, will help Eritrea attain self-sufficiency in many essential commodities and become a regional economic powerhouse within a short period of time. A sound, market-based agricultural policy will enable the country to feed itself without any problems. My estimates, and have been closely working with the relief organization in Eritrea, are that the present famine in Eritrea is the last one. This could be done with minimal assistance to the farmers in the form of seeds, implements, and improvement of the basic infrastructure. The new government in Ethiopia has proven itself to be responsible and trustworthy. Its respect for human rights is shown by the way it treats the former government and Communist Party officials. The whole process of change of government was done so meticulously that the bloodbath many doomsayers were predicting did not materialize. It's to the credit of the Ethiopian and Eritrean peoples that the war ended without the anarchy that accompanied the fall of dictatorships in Liberia and Somalia. The US government has played a historic role in bringing an end to the 30-year war in Eritrea and the 16-year war in Ethiopia. The decisive role played by Secretary Cohen in the London conference has made people who know the area and the nature of the conflict proud of the United States. his support for resolving the Eritrean issue through internationally supervised referendum, and his courage to invite the EPRDF to take over Addis Ababa and to prevent bloodshed is highly commendable. In this regard, the US administration has shown its commitment to democracy. And Mr. Cohen, as the earlier speaker has suggested, has earned his place in history. And I would add to that that in due course of time, if this process reaches its logical conclusion, I have no doubt that Mr. Cohen will be a recipient of the Nobel Peace Prize. Equally important is the good understanding that exists between the governments of Eritrea and Ethiopia. The opening of the seaports for Ethiopian goods without any delay and other ongoing relations are examples of the understanding between the two governments. Such an understanding is vital for carrying through the peace process and should be encouraged. The reaction of some elements of the Ethiopian exiled community outside Ethiopia does not reflect the reality in the country. What we are witnessing here is a deliberate scheme of deception and disinformation to create the perception of instability in the country. The ultimate objective of such a campaign is to grab political power by any means necessary and at any cost. One way of doing so would be to bring foreign troops into the country. A former foreign minister under Haile Selassie, after spending his entire life or career advocating non-interference in Ethiopian affairs, was shown on CNN recently openly advocating for the OAU to send troops to Ethiopia. We know the consequence of such moves. The other allegation that the EPRDF, the group that has taken power, is dominated by the Tigrans and that the Amharas, the dominant group up to now, have been left out, falls in the same category. The composition of the EPRDF Council and the process they followed up to now shows that the front is representative of the Amhara, Tigrans and other groups. During the last 2 years, the EPRDF was operating in the Amhara areas of the country. They lived with the people and shared their problems and views. They empowered the people fully by helping them set their own democratically elected local administration. By working close with the people, they managed to get their confidence and full involvement. The movement that overthrew the well-entrenched Mengistu regime was a movement of the people, and the Amhara people were very much part of this movement. They deserve credit. Knowing the tenacity and fiercely independent nature of the Amhara people, there is no other way any force could have passed through their territory except through their consent and participation. Documentary evidence from the area shows the sincerity and involvement of all the people. That's why there is no complaint or opposition from the Amhara people in Ethiopia. The only complaint we hear about is from here, 18th Street and Columbia Avenue. The people are part and parcel of the movement, and they are now the government. What's more, the people can speak and are speaking for themselves. The exiled community in this country definitely can speak for itself. So far, these people do not offer any new approach or insight. In the name of national unity, they are advocating for a continuation of the war policy followed by the two previous governments. They distort history by claiming that Eritrea was part of Ethiopia for millennia, that the Ethiopia they use for such purpose is the biblical name used for the entire Black Africa. True, history shows that modern Ethiopia was a buffer zone created by European colonialists during the scramble for Africa towards the end of the last century, the same time that Eritrea was also colonized by the Italians. An international conspiracy denied Eritrea its right for independence and let it be annexed by the expansionist government of Ethiopia. The bloody war that followed and the attendant famine and human misery is the result of the denial of the Eritrean people's rights. The few weeks of peace that we have now seen are proof that the region's core problem has centered around the Eritrean issue. It is in light of such glimpses that some Ethiopian elites are aspiring for leadership roles and who believe that they are God's gift to the country are openly using every forum available, including the US government's media, Voice of America, for advocating ethnic violence and destabilization of the society. They apparently are convinced that they can fish only in troubled waters. And if the waters happen to be calm, they are prepared to agitate them to suit their purpose. Thus, the choices available for the people and for their genuine supporters like the United States are very clear. whether to proceed steadily with the recent developments toward a lasting peace or go back to the horrors of yesterday. The people have shown their desire and commitment for peace. The US should continue to play the historical and positive role it has embarked on. History will definitely remember this moment. In time, the people of Eritrea and Ethiopia will develop a solid relationship based on common interest and mutual respect. Such a relationship can be made to include all the countries in the region which may have to evolve with the establishment of customs union first, then a common market. Establishment of a democratic system of government and market economy can be conditions for joining such a union. Economic and other forms of aid can be used effectively as incentives for cooperation in the future. It's in light of all these positive possibilities that, Mr. Chairman, I urge your committee to support fully the move that's been taken.